What's up, guys? Tuki here, back again. This is another episode of my Fantasy Draft Franchise Mode series with the St. Louis Blues. And in this episode, we finish up the very first offseason with this team. We're in an interesting spot. Of course, depending on who is in the free agent list, we could do some damage. But we also need to resign some people. And I scouted this out a little bit beforehand. There's an interesting situation going on with Antti Niemi. Now, somebody pointed out in the comments of the last episode that he had jumped to Elite as a player role. He didn't just jump to Elite as a player role. He is flat out an Elite goalie. He has jumped up to an 88. I'm flabbergasted, astonished. I have no idea what to make of that. So obviously the ideal situation would be to sign and trade, which is what we're going to try to do. But man, he wants one hell of a contract. No doubt about that. Now, because of his age, I think I want to see if I can get him at 3 years, $7 million. I think that would make it a much more attractive contract. From there, I'm going to let go of Magic Man. I'm going to let go of him, because we can sign Kai Gorodov because he is not from the CHL. And we're actually going to do that right now. We can sign him and have him be on the Chicago Wolves, probably as the backup to Louis Domingue. So we're just flat out going to let Mazanik go because it's not like we're going to get too much for him anyway. So right now the goal is really to sign Antti Niemi. Defensively, Andrei Markov needs a deal. We will give him a 1-year deal because that's probably all he's going to need. And I don't want to risk signing him to like 2 or 3 years in case he doesn't retire, because then we'd be stuck with a terrible player with a terrible cap hit. But we'll look to resign him. Larson needs a new deal as well, and we will try to be cheap as shit about this. If he takes this, awesome. I'll be happy with that 8 years of 1.5 for somebody who in the Bruins series turned into a 90 overall defenseman. Andy McDonald needs to go. Steve Oleksy needs to go. Aronin can also be released. And that is it for the defenseman at the moment. Timo Pulkkinen, I think we'll give him a deal. He's still willing to accept a 2-way deal. I'm only going to sign him for 1 more year, though. I do want to see if he makes any progression. He's probably not worth keeping around if he's only going to be an 81. Klim Kostin is somebody who we can also sign. Seeing as he's Russian, he can be assigned to the Chicago Wolves. Patrick Marleau, we'll look to give him the same thing that we gave Andrei Markov, a 1-year deal. Nestrasil needs a contract, which I don't know. I don't know if we'll keep him. So we'll go 1 year, $2 million, and maybe potentially look at trading him. Oscar Lindblom, I believe it is. Lindblom, I should say, needs a contract. Comtois we can't sign. Lane we can't sign. McLean we can't sign. And then for center, Zach Delpay, we're going to let him go despite him having a great season for the Wolves. Chris Wagner will also be released. And we'll sign Krivicic because he can also be assigned to Chicago. So let's take a look at who resigns, and then really the main event of this is just getting to see who is on the free agent list this year that could potentially turn our fortunes around. Markov, Larson, Nestrasil, Marleau, Lindblom, Pulkkinen, Niemi, Kostin, Krivicic, Kai Gorodov. Everybody has resigned. We will, of course, take a look just in case. But we have some players that we can definitely look to move. A lot of that, though, depends on who is available on the free agent market, and that will allow us to hopefully make some quick repairs, especially after trading Lee Stempniak. We definitely have a few spots we need to fill. Progression could also be a big factor, but we won't know that until we get to the preseason. For now, all we can do is bank on there being some decent free agents this time out, and it's not great. Oh boy, it's not great. Okay. All right, let's figure this out. Goalies. We're going to need a new backup because Niemi's going, and it's looking like Brian Elliott will hopefully be that backup? Are there any decent prospects? Because remember, in this series, I don't care. It's a fantasy draft, so the best prospects, whatever. We're going for it. That's something, of course, I changed my mind on in the Bruins series because I wanted to keep that a bit more fair. This one, fuck it. We're going all out. And Marmolind, who is someone we have signed in the Bruins series, will probably get picked up, as will Dmitry Khudobin, another decent option there. So first things first, what do? Do we try to sign Chris Kunitz, was it? I think we tried to sign Chris Kunitz for a year. Yeah, I think we'll go for that. I think we'll try to sign Chris Kunitz for a season. He's going to want a decent amount of money, but that's okay. We should have the cap space. And then obviously in the future, we're going to have to figure it out when Marlowe and Markov and guys like that retire. But we will see if we can get Chris Kunitz in. Carl Alsner, I don't think we're going to need, so we're not going to look to bring him in. I know someone in particular is going to want me to sign Sam Gagner. God, I mean, I could. I could. He might not be... You know what? Just for you, buddy. You comment all the time saying, get Sam Gagner, get Sam Gagner. We'll do it. I'm only going to bring him in for a year to start, but we will see what he can do. That is just for you. You know who you are, and that's just for you. And the main reason to do that is there aren't really any great options here, really. So let's take a look, prospect-wise, at anybody we could sign. Dmitry Smirnov, not a bad name. He's only medium bottom 6, though. So how good is he going to be? Same as Eric Umbrich, another potential signing. But do we go with medium bottom 6, or do we go with high AHL potential is the question. And there really isn't anybody with high AHL potential. Okay. So if we go for anybody, it will be Smirnov and Umbrich. Let's take a look at left wings. Options there. There aren't any great options prospect-wise. We could get Ruotsalainen. Jesus, man. We could also potentially bring in Matt Mistele. Or Mistile, I think it is. Wickman would be an option. Man, there really aren't that many great prospects this time out. There really aren't that many great ones. There aren't even that many good ones. Son of a bitch. Alright. Right wings, any decent options? Not really. Just all medium bottom 6, which is not ideal in the slightest. Damn. Man, we just don't have any solid options here. How about defenders? Goalies might be our highlight, basically. I'm looking for those high potentials here. High AHL top 2. There's nobody. There is absolutely nobody. Okay, well, that is a bit of a problem, but we will look to correct it. How's high AHL potential looking for goalies? And there are quite a few options, actually. I don't think we take Bouchard. I know we've signed him in the Bruins series, but I'm going to go for Vehvilainen again, and we will probably go for Marmolind as well. And I think because he's 20 out of 66, we'll let Khudobin go. But aside from those offers that we've already sent out, there isn't anybody else where it's like, oh, we totally have to get those guys. It's Kunitz and Gagner, and then 3 goalies, or 2 goalies, Marmolind and Vehvilainen. I need to send an offer to Brian Elliott. Other than that, man, this is a rough situation. We are not getting that much help. No Brock Besser, no Colin White, none of these guys that would have made it much easier. Now, we're going to give Brian Elliott a little bit of cash here, and hopefully he'll sign. Let's quickly. I don't know how much of this I want to keep live. Obviously, there's been a decent chunk of that already that's been live. I want to see what Antti Niemi's trade value is. because that is a pretty big factor. He absolutely has to go. There's no question about that. And he has value. He has value. And I think we'll look to move out Louis Domingue as well because of the other two goalies that we are signing. So we could make a big play and really get somebody here that would help. Now, quickly too, if we look at the defense, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like defensively, do we need a ton of help? Not necessarily. Larson, Sergachev, and Larson. Hopefully they can turn into something. We could probably use one more solid defenseman. But the real help, we need somebody offensively for that second line. So give me a minute, and I will see if we can find anybody for to send Antti Niemi to somebody. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to try to find a trade. That's what I'm saying. He might not be the biggest name. But if I were to have told you a few episodes ago that Antti Niemi would jump to an 88 and we'd be able to trade him for Mika Zibanejad, would you have believed me? Probably not. But that is the intention in my mind. It's Huberdeau and Zibanejad, probably with Chris Kunitz or Patrick Marleau on that second line this year. And that actually went through. God damn. I didn't think that'd go through. I didn't think they'd accept the third. So Antti Niemi is off to Pittsburgh, and Mika Zibanejad is on his way here. Not a bad bit of business. We do as well need to trade Louis Domingue, and Tampa is the perfect situation with the goaltending situation that they have. Can we get a third? That's probably asking too much. That is asking too much. That's fine by me. So the Louis Domingue pick, in hindsight, maybe not the greatest of picks from the fantasy draft, but, I mean, we did get Niemi as a free agent, and we just turned that into Mika Zibanejad. So I am content with that. So Domingue is gone. Domingue is gone. Niemi is gone. And I think that was all we needed to do as far as trades go. I'm just looking over the roster very quickly. Yeah, I think we're good. So let's move forward, and we will see if the free agents we are looking to sign will accept, and hopefully they do. Or that puts us into a bit of a weird situation where we're going to have to rely on player progression to really have our team look like it's in a good spot. So it is Kunitz and Gagne. And for goaltending, it is Elliott, Vehviläinen, and Marman Lind. Can we sign all 5 players? I certainly hope so. I mean, we could really go after some other guys as well, I suppose. But these are the 5 I want first. Brian Elliott back in St. Louis. Gagne is here. Marman Lind declined. He went to San Jose. Vehviläinen accepted, though, so he and Kai Gorodov will be the tandem. And Chris Kunitz is here as well. So that is a short-term Band-Aid that will help out in the meantime. Now, we have about $5 million left to spend. And if we look at our roster here, so centers, we have Jack Eichel, Spanja, Bozak, Vermette. So we're set there. Left wings, we are set. Right wings, we could use some help, but obviously we'll be playing people on the right-hand side that aren't normally there. We could look to get somebody else defensively and then potentially trade out Kevin Miller or Ben Lovejoy. So let's take a really quick look. Is there anybody worth getting? And I know there were some prospects there that might have been worth signing, but overall it didn't really look like it. There weren't any amazing players. And there aren't any amazing players left on the list, so that will do it. Let's move forward to the preseason and see what this team will be on opening night. I think this might go through, so we're joining this in progress here. We're looking at trading Ty Ratty, Jay Beagle, and Tanner Caro. Ratty and Beagle will just be odd men out on the NHL level, and Tanner Caro we can just get rid of. We're also going to have to give up 2 third-round picks, but in return, we could get Madison Bowie for an improved defenseman on the right side. We'll look to trade away Ben Lovejoy If this goes through, it did not. Can we just tack off the 7th? And we can, and that will go through. So Ty Ratty and Jay Beagle are off to Brooklyn. Madison Bowie is our newest defenseman. Ryan Reeves and Ben Lovejoy are on their way to Carolina. Unfortunately, they were both the odd man out. And in return, though, we get a pretty fair haul. A second-round pick this year and the Carolina's next 2/3. So not too bad at all. The teams are set, and the teams are looking pretty good, I feel. Of course, let's get you a look at the two teams, St. Louis and the Chicago Wolves, as we wrap up this episode. First off with the overalls, 93, 93, and 95 for the Blues. Chicago, it'll be interesting to see what this team does, 80, 82, and 74. We will, of course, start with the big club. We've made some changes in this offseason, and I think these are the lineups we're going to roll with to start. Top line, Evander Kane, Jack Eichel now in 92, and Patrick Laine. Jonathan Huberdeau, Patrick Marleau, and Mika Zibanejad. I know I'd like to have righties on the right. We could easily just put Patrick Marleau on his offhand side. That wouldn't be too big of a deal. Chris Kunitz is with Tyler Bozak and Sam Gagner. Andre Nestrasil is with Antoine Vermette and Trevor Lewis. Overall, I'm pretty happy. Trading Ty Ratty may be a bit questionable. I just don't feel like he's going to pan out. I may be wrong. And then, the likes of Ryan Reeves and Jay Beagle, I don't feel like are too big of a loss or losses. Defensively, it's Mikhail Sergachev with Adam Larson. Markov now with Madison Bowie, who unfortunately dropped to an 83, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. And then Jacob Larson is with Kevin Miller. So I'm happy with where we are defensively. Of course, the goaltending, it's looking good. Carey Price and Brian Elliott, that's not too bad at all. In the AHL, Timo Meier, Michael Dal-Coll, and Teemu Pulkkinen are the top line. I think I said Timo. I may have said Timo in accident. Timo Meier. Second line is Hanna Kainen, Josh Joris, who we just signed, and Stefan Noesen. Connor Brickley is with Glenn Gaudin and Zach Nastasiuk, and Lindblom is with Zukhanov and Craig Cunningham, who we just signed. So the scratches, you have Nikita Korostelev, who is ours, who could be in the lineup. You also have Krivicic, and on the left-hand side, you have Chris Porter, who was signed. Obviously, there are a couple of players that's missing, or that are missing. Klim Kostin, someone who we weren't able to send down to the AHL level, but that is okay. Defensively, it is Joachim Ryan with Morgan Ellis, Musil with Mackenzie Weegar, and Colby Roback with Kenny Morrison. No real defensive prospects for us at the moment. I believe Olli Juolevi is still technically in junior. We'll actually take a look. But Vehviläinen is the goalie with Kai Gorodov as the backup. So overall, am I happy with where the Blues are at this moment? I am, because I still think we will be a competitive team. And obviously with Carey Price between the pipes, anything can happen. The bubble might burst a little bit when we lose Marleau and Kunitz and some of our older players. But overall, I am happy with where the team is at. I look forward to being competitive this year. What exactly am I looking? Okay, hold on. Better way to do it is go to trading, and we will see where these players are. And like I said, I mean, obviously Olli Juolevi is still in junior. Otherwise, he would be on the Chicago Wolves right about now. So you have Howden still in junior. Left wings for junior players, we don't have anybody. Right wings, Costin is in junior. And defensively, Juolevi is still there. He's a 77, though, so he's going to be an impact player once he's 20. And Chizen is there as well. DiPietro, of course, still down in junior. He is currently unsigned. So overall, like I said, I'm happy with where the team is, and I'm excited to see what they can do. But I want to know from you guys, of course, if there are any last-second changes you would make. Nothing major. I'm pretty sure the team is going to have to be the team. But any, position changes or anything like that, playing people, right wing, center, whatever. Let me know down below before we start the sim, the Season 2 sim, in the next episode. Until then, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you have, make sure to hit that like button to help support me and my channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. And I will see you guys in the next one.